Okay, we'll call the Parks and Recreation Board meeting for October into session. We have oath of office.
I, Sean Davis, have been appointed to the office of Park and Recreation Board within and for the city of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and the ordinances of the said city of Mitchell, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to my best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of the office of Parks and Recreation Board.
Thank you and welcome aboard.
Welcome. Let's go around and introduce ourselves.
Dennis Thompson, and retired UPS driver.
Pam Savers, City Council.
Luke Gordon.
Andy Yerke.
Adam Schultz.
Kevin Nelson.
Steve Roth. Kevin DeVries.
Do I have to all in favor or anything? Okay. Citizens input.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Joe Kroll. I'm part of the Palace City Peddlers, and we maintain the roughly 15 miles of trails in and around Lake Mitchell, spring, summer, winter, and fall, whether you can hike, bike, and walk them. And like every great thing, there has to be a beginning. And several years ago, there were three guys that really were instrumental in getting the trail started, and that was Bill Platts, Dwight Scott, and John O'Connell. And unfortunately, Bill Platts left us way too early in life, and we honored him several years ago with a rock, and it's over by the pump track. And this has been ongoing, but probably a couple years ago, we started to talk about we need to, why wait till someone passes who's done great deeds to honor them? And so as a club, we got together and made two more rocks, one for Dwight and one for John. And on behalf of the club, we're just asking permission to place them in two places on the trail out there, just in honor of them. They both have a favorite part of what they built or were a big part of. And with your permission, we'd like you to consider letting us place those there for those guys.
So tonight, we're looking for just favorability input. We can't pass this tonight because it's not on the agenda, but we're looking for head nods or things. And if
Yeah.
we all look like we're in favor of this, we'd place it on the board agenda for approval for next month.
Yeah, and Kevin was kind enough. I wasn't sure. First I called my two city councilmen, and they thought, well, I didn't need to go to council, maybe go here or there. And then Kevin was kind enough. I talked with him today. He's like, can you be there at 6? I'm like, yeah, I have a 6:30 bike club meeting, but I can be here. So anyhow, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Where are they going?
So Dwight pretty much single-handedly built the flow trail, we call it, right before you get to Sandy Beach. So if you're heading to the west and you go down, it's a really neat flow trail. He pretty much did that all himself. And I think John, I was talking to Marius Larson over by Celia Pines for both of those guys. And we'll get them there, and if we get them there and you guys happen to be out there and like, hey, move them here or there, or they're too close, we obviously have a pretty good idea how to place them so nobody will bother them or get hurt by them. So, any questions?
I think it's a great deal.
Yeah, thank you, yeah. And on a personal note, thanks to Angel she helped us when we have things, when we get the big tour de corn. She's just been so awesome for me, and it just like gets it done, so we'll miss you.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thanks what everybody does. Have a good night.
As well.
Any other citizens input?
I'm just going to address the board and just thank everybody. I know some of you haven't been here as long as I have been, but I just want to say it has been a total joy the past 27 years doing the minutes and attending these meetings. And I just want everybody in the public to know that this board does not get the credit that they deserve, and I'm here to say I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you.
Well said as a parliamentarian.
Well, we would love to thank you back, because without you, I don't think the board would be near as effective as it has been for all of those years.
Thank you.
So, any delegations? Any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Minutes. Anyone here, and you have any questions about what went on, let us know.
Kevin, can you just discuss the Pat Young playground? So the chips are part of, those are going to be moved over once the rest is that how it's going to work?
So the chips will stay where they're at. They're, should we say, one step down from that rubber surface.
Okay, so all the rubber surface is there? Okay,
And that's going to be there.
okay,
That rubber surface is there was a little over $30,000. If you look at the wood chips, they're approximately $5,000 per semi-truckload. So there's probably $10,000 worth of wood chips. Did you guess that on the rest of the playground?
Yeah, roughly.
okay. So it's all done,
It's
tape?
done as-
Okay,
And if somebody wants to fund the rest, we'll pull up the wood chips, pour the concrete, and get that rubber in, but I'm guessing there's $100,000 worth plus.
Yeah.
To do the rest of that playground underneath it.
thank you.
You're welcome. Or more.
Are there any questions? I need a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Financial reports.
Did anything jump up to either of you guys in the reports as we're looking for them for this? This is campground bills.
So I'm looking under income side. I think it's a campground, it's on my phone, but, yeah. It says rentals. I was just curious what the rentals were. It says 1897. Wait, that might not be the year, that's just period. But even then, like, the whole, unless I'm reading it wrong, the whole year, there's been less than $400 in rentals. Is that right? I'm in the wrong section.
Rentals that likely have come in this year would be not even pontoon.
Yeah.
It'd be paddle boat. Bicycles would be a rental, but we probably not rented the bikes this year.
Few maybe, I guess. But yeah, the rentals have been down on that stuff all summer.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask about. So normally is it, so like the number, it says 7,000, was that like a standard from your previous years, that a number that had been pulled over from previous years that was normal? Or, do you know?
That I guess I don't remember without looking at it closer.
I'm looking at the column above it to see current budget, current period.
Yeah.
Prior year, year to date,
Oh, there's a prior year. Okay.
and the prior year wasn't a whole lot there either.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think that's a budget item we probably should look at for next year's, not realistic. Then my next question would be, how do we have the equipment? How do we make it better?
The labor.
The lake, totally.
If the lake is green, no, people don't want it, and, or purple or blue or whatever color it happens to
Yeah.
be at that way, people don't want to be out there to paddle boats.
I suppose that those boats only get really utilized in July. Or, and middle of June.
June,
middle of
July.
August Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-month period.
If it's cold and rainy, they
Yeah, if it's cold and rainy, they aren't out there. And it'll turn more sour when the lake is dried for a couple of years.
Yeah. It just seems like rentals has been difficult all the way. Like, you have the bumper cars at the ice arena, and you have pontoon boating, you know. It just seems like rentals at the city level has been maybe not as fruitful as we would maybe want it to be.
Right.
And I don't know how to get it there.
And I think we can try to take a different approach with a little bit more social media marketing on that, and try to work in conjunction with other organizations in town on doing that, and put together some sort of packages.
Yeah, group things.
Right,
Yeah.
because right now, we've offered, for instance, for the interns who come to town, the chamber will go out and grab some packages, and they might be passes to the rec center, or passes for a round of golf, and things of that nature. But we can put in their pedal boats and things like that too, or the bicycles from the campground. That's not giving us revenue, but it's promoting that they are there.
Do that, or maybe we can add them in as a, you know, like you're at the day camp. Here's the other packages that you can, like you're at the day camp, you get a paddle boat, and I don't know. Just trying to figure out more ways to
Right.
utilize them better. Because it's cool that we have them, but it's not great that no one's using them.
Right, and I think if they were perhaps in a different location, they're handy there to rent because of the staff being available to rent them. But if they were at one of the other facilities that we rent out for people to come in and use for
Right.
birthday parties and the likes, they might be handier to use.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially the bikes. You're in the completely wrong place, if you're honestly.
Well,
You're in the worst place to use
when are they going to be done out there?
For the trail going all the way out to
Oh,
National
sure.
Guard Road?
Yeah.
That'll be another year.
So they will be.
them. Yeah, true.
in
They'll
a-
be on a trail then, which will be a bigger deal.
Right, they could leave
Yeah,
from there and
absolutely.
go all the way around.
Right now, they're not in a good location.
Yeah.
But
Definitely something to be investigated.
there's not a like a seasonal rental membership, is there? That goes along with the rec center, something where they can,
Not for those, no, not for the bikes, the pedal boats, no.
Another thought.
Invent one.
yeah, maybe if, I mean, they paid a little more and they knew they could go out and do that with a membership of some kind, that maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because even like the pontoon, right, you think about that, it's a good chunk to do in a half a day, which I know that it's compared to the cost of the boat and comparatively to other places, $400 or $500 for half a day isn't that big a deal.
And it's
However,
300 plus a $200 deposit, when you look at
Right.
what the overall prices are in Mitchell, people expect it to be far less than
right,
that.
however, if we maybe can combine it, right, where you get, I don't know, if you have a yearly pass at the rec center and you combine it in with that, then you get some sort of, it's better than sitting there not unutilized, even if we have to do it at a discounted rate if they're already utilizing our services somewhere else.
Can you rent the boat on the weekends?
Saturdays, yes. Sundays right now, no, because if we have to pay somebody to come in and pay them overtime to work with that, it costs what we've got into it for getting the rent back out of it again. Somebody has 2 hours of call-in pay for them coming in for the first 2 hours, and then 2 hours of call-in pay to bring it back in after that.
What about after 5 PM on the weekdays?
At present, it'd be challenging.
That's when most people have time off to enjoy the boats, so I think that's where
This-
you're missing a lot of
The
this.
staff we had this year, it was agreed in their terms of their hiring that they wouldn't be working with those rentals. And we'll leave that at that.
Well, we have, probably 2 years to actually think about it and have a good
Yes.
solution, because, I mean, the reality is next year, none of this is probably, or more. You know, there's so much construction and stuff going on, you're not gonna have a lot of rentals anyway.
there's any page you want me to stomp on, let me know. And this is the payables.
Pump up and going, cattle, you know? So, you know,
It's not been installed yet. Can't do it.
I just saw it on the list of, or at least one of them pumps. Part of the pump.
Anybody have any more questions on the finance?
I need a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve the financial report.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I abstain. Motion carried.
And for info for the newest board member, since we send out the reports, board pretty much came to the conclusion that the staff would be reading through them again, just providing oratory here, that if they have any questions on things, they're welcome to ask those questions at this time.
On our report, I'd just like to highlight our new maintenance custodial person will be starting on Tuesday. His name is Sean Lacknick, and he is from Alexandria. So we're excited about him coming on board.
We haven't talked about it in a while. Everything good with the new addition?
Yep. Yeah, it's going really good. As you saw in there, I put in there the sewer lines were relined a week ago, and then in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, though, another company's coming to dig up from halfway in the parking lot out to the main to finish putting in a new sewer line there. So then that project will be done. They said they wouldn't have to shut the water off for that, hopefully. So hopefully that's the case. Anybody have any other questions for me?
Steve, you got anything on ramp?
Just let the playgrounds open and done.
It's been a long battle.
Steve, do you want to talk a little bit about the different surfaces that can be used on playground in terms of sand, wood chips, different types of rubber?
Yeah, to be ADA compliance, the wood chips, they say is the best, but they deteriorate the fastest. And, rubber surfacing is nice but expensive. It's trying to find that happy medium what to use in our playgrounds. And, sand, you don't ever really have to put it there. It's there, it's done. But wood chips, year after year, we're just constantly adding wood chips.
And they really do provide good fall protection. If you walk out in the new wood chips out into that playground, there's a lot there. You're just thinking about 6 inches when you walk on it. Probably not real handy for seniors to walk through.
Get some new socks. Yeah, and it's very, for those of you that don't know, it's very specific. Like when we or whoever else you get it from orders it, it's not just wood. It's very, very specific.
Yeah, it's certified.
Spec'd
It's
out, like it's not just wood mulch. It's a very different thing than that. It's a
Yep,
specific
all the
type of
edges.
Wood and a specific type of edges.
The
all-
direction
all
of
that
shades is
stuff,
correct, yes.
yeah, all that stuff.
That's why it's called engineered wood chips.
Wish I could make it out of cedar.
Yeah, especially with all the cedar we're looking to part with.
Yeah, right, right. Okay, we can move on, I think. Is there anything in Jeremy's that needs to be discussed, really? Arena's working well now that we're kind of in full.
There are some temporary patches in place and they are holding, and there'll be some repairs done to some of that stuff as we go forward here.
To the compressors and stuff, or
Yes.
the
Yep.
compressors?
Yep. And they're doing some major cleaning of locker rooms, and I know there's some repairs to be done in there as well. And also, there was a scoreboard controller not working for Field C, and they ordered some parts and got that done. The part they got for it was faulty. Daktronics turned around and sent them another one, and just under $2,000 to get that going again for this weekend's game for DWU. It's that busy time of the year again where he's lost most of his seasonal help, and he's got the outside stuff to work with in terms of mowing and closing up, and also working with the ice for the last month. So it's that nail biting time for him.
This is where you usually talk if you got anything, right? No? Good?
No, I'm good in terms of what I presented in the report there.
Okay, number 9, approve no e-bikes on the pump track policy and sign.
So this is something that we had discussed last month. It's pretty straightforward. They had just encountered at least one person being on the pump track with a e-bike that was either a class 1 or a class 2 with the throttle. So as they were coming off of some of those slopes and runs in there, the person was simply throttling rather than pedaling and tearing up the course out there. So they're looking for be able to put signage out there, no e-bikes.
I need a motion to approve, right? Unless there's discussion. This seems to make sense, I guess.
And it's okay to do your motion and second, and then you look for discussion on it, so.
Oh, okay, so we'll make the motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the policy of the e-bikes.
Just the pump track. Yeah. Yep.
Thanks for amending that, Danny.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So I see we have here again Clifford this month, and he came to talk to us last month regarding possible vending permitting out in the parks. I will bring up for you some information that I was able to garner from a couple of neighboring communities. Brookings does permit them. They permit them per event. Forms must be submitted at least 14 days in advance of an event. It's not per summer or things of that nature, but it's per event. Again, this is just discussion at this point. Sioux Falls, I'll see if I can get this to be any bigger on here. Well, instead I made it harder to see. Permit is required for any person to promote, sell, or offer to sell any article or anything of any type in the park. So that means even if they're giving away items, they require a permit, and that's much as our city attorney had advised here. Permit must be requested from the Park and Rec office, may be issued by the Park and Rec staff, issued for the event for each vendor and each retail point in the park, $50 per event. Again, not for a summer. So some of the things we had discussed per my notes. I'll go back to my report. So those are the things that we could talk about tonight. Single event permit versus a season permit. Allowed to compete with long-standing stationary vending such as Exchange Club. Exchange Club right now vends only during the state amateur tournament. Another thought of somebody when I visited with it was somebody from Sioux Falls, their assistant director. Why not negotiate perhaps a gross profit of somebody versus doing a permit fee or a one-time event type of thing? You just kind of negotiate something over the course of the summer. If a fee, what amount? What percentage of gross profit? Multiple permits per event or a single permit by a bid process. So if somebody wants to be the one who's out doing, let's say, the soccer tournament, are they the only one? Or do we issue multiple tournaments for somebody to be out there? I'm throwing a lot of information out at you.
We're just at discussion stage, right? That's
Correct.
Single event is the only way to go to me, because then the city has the control if they, not saying they do, but if they don't want to allow someone at the amateur tournament or at the rodeo grounds or out in front of the Corn Palace during an event that the Corn Palace has going on, then then the city has the right to do that, versus if you just do a season-long permit and it says, I don't even know how you write it, all public spaces or all, like, it'd be very difficult, I would think.
I would say if you're going to do a seasonal thing, it would have to be specified to a certain location that we would be okay with. So I have a hard time okaying somebody to be right outside the pool with taking revenue away from.
But when I don't think you were here last,
No.
the discussion is that, so he provided hot dogs, if I remember right, correct? Yes, sir. And part of the issue is that at the pool, they can't really feed kids a meal, right? That was kind of where the discussion we're headed is, so he's providing a service to them saying, here's something that you can eat that isn't a candy bar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
actually outside the pool may not be a horrible one. That was the discussion, that was the road that the discussion was down.
We do have hot dogs at the pool, though.
Or, you do have hot dogs?
We do,
Well, okay.
yeah. That's about the only hot food we
That
have.
was what we were talking about.
Yeah, we have hot food, or hot dogs, pretzels.
Yeah.
Some years we've had Papa Murphy's Pizza, but not a full,
Right.
One of our greater limitations is with the Pepsi contract. We're allowed to vend only bottled or canned product. Is canned allowed? Just bottled product. So fountain pop isn't available for us, and it's got to be Pepsi product. So we're tied into that contract yet for a while. So even a vendor coming in, if they were to be in the park, they are bound by that contract as well because they're within parkland.
That didn't happen at Arts in the Park, correct? I'm just asking. So you can't sell bottled water at our park? That's not Pepsi produced? I'm just asking, I don't know. Is that right, Angel? It is? Okay.
If you're exclusive, you got to sell what Pepsi sells.
Yeah.
Which is Aquafina and.
Yeah, or whatever it is. Yeah, I
their-
just
their
didn't know
domain
that.
is. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's that Uber, whatever yeah. I think in some locations though, it might drive, like I look at Rapid City they have their park that's down below, the M Hill there. And they have vendors out there every day, multiple vendors. And it drives people to that area and that facility and people using that area more. They go get lunch, they walk the area there, during their lunch break or whatever. So if we could utilize this to like drive traffic to some of the, places that we want more traffic driven to, I think it would be very beneficial in that aspect. That where we don't have something to offer,
Rapid City is 7 times the size.
Yeah, but the aspect of driving people to that location so that, because you're not going to see that foot traffic there in those locations during the day if those vendors aren't there.
Right.
Well, or even the lake in the summer. I mean, one of the downsides to our lake is that there's no commercial anything out there. So
Right.
You're at the lake all day. I mean, yeah, I don't know, just, that was just the other one that popped into my head was how if they're using it like that, why couldn't we use it at the lake?
Right, so if somebody were to be at the jetty, let's say 3 years from now, when the lake is all filled and we've got the new docks and things inserted in there, would it be a place to be on a Saturday?
Right.
Well, yeah, and then you get people riding their bike out there. Hey, let's go ride our bike out on the path. We'll stop and get something at the, they know it's going to be there. It's going to drive traffic in certain locations.
I think there needs to be considerations, and this is my opinion, please pipe in. Golf course needs to be off the table in terms of, because that's in somebody's contract to be able to run the food through the golf course out there, so we shouldn't have a vendor in the parking lot at the golf course. During baseball games, youth baseball games, I understand the need. And
Youth
perhaps
football.
youth football games as well. If you've got 4 teams at a time out there, there might be need because families have rushed out there and haven't gotten to eat yet.
Yeah, as far as the city's still running the softball, correct? So, I mean, is that different than the other? I mean, if it's in the same parking lot, just a little bit further away, and there's softball going on one night with baseball going on, and we have a few vendors in the parking lot, I mean, you're
Within the Cadwell Stadium parking lot
Correct,
versus
yeah.
the softball complex parking lots.
you're still going to have people go over there, and
It's a ways to walk over there. I don't think there's any families that would send their kids all the way.
no,
across
probably
the
not their
softball.
kids,
But
no.
this is, to me, this is the whole reason that you do a single event permit instead of a season-long permit. Because like all of these little stipulations we're talking about can change quickly.
Yep.
Be decided by the staff
The approval
or
process.
like, we can have a certain limitation set by the board. And then after that, there's another set of limitations that has to be approved by the employees of the city.
And
And then now it's got to kind of go through 2 things to make sure that we're not stepping on any toes or crossing any lines with Pepsi or whatever
Right.
the thing is.
And I think there's a happy medium somewhere, because I'm thinking about a vendor in the back of the room here who wants to attend multiple baseball or football games, and now if there's a permitting process for each game that he wants to go to, or each night of games, is it something that is
Or maybe the sheet
obtrusive
just
to
has
him?
multiple dates on it, right? Like maybe it's a single event sheet or it's
A season with a
these
specific
dates,
sport
like
in
specific
mind.
dates written down or something.
A single application that you can list
Right.
20 dates on.
Right, yeah.
Or like I said, a seasonal pass at certain locations, that it's not going to matter when you're out there or with event, like to drive traffic. Like out by the lake, like you said, is it going to matter if they're out, what day they're out there? I mean, it's not going to drive any different with an
Right.
event. So I think a seasonal pass in certain locations makes it far easy for them to
And that-
provide a service.
What's easiest for the vendor? I mean, you're a vendor. What works for vendors? Like, we don't want to make it so difficult and so confusing that it turns someone away from providing a service that would be good for people.
I think it would be, if you have a simplified process, where it's like a one-page thing to fill out. It's not a big deal to fill out an application as far as that goes. It would be nice if there was a way to list multiple dates. For instance, I've talked to the coaches for Dakota Wesleyan's teams, softball, baseball, and soccer, and they would like me to come out for the entire season, every home game that they have. So to have one application and just list all of those dates for the Pepsi Field or for the Caldwell or wherever they're actually playing would be really beneficial as far as that goes.
Okay.
The other one is youth soccer. She was willing and eager to let us come out all the times that they're practicing. So if I had to fill out a single form every single time, it would be
Right, a lot.
it would be a lot. So yeah. So maybe you do both. Maybe if it's something like the soccer where there's the youth soccer where there's not a lot of competition of other types of things, maybe a seasonal for that, and then however it works as far as the different parks. So you could do two.
Clifford, for the minutes and for the audience who might be watching, would you give your name, please?
Sure. Clifford Chamberlain, owner of Clifford's Doggone Cart. So.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
I think the soccer complex, I mean, very few people drop off and come back when they go out there. They're out there because the distance that they have to go out there, they stay out there. That's a perfect opportunity for a vendor to be out there in a youth sports atmosphere where.
Right, and if we don't open it to a bidding process, I believe and have somebody say, this is what I'm willing to pay to be out there to do that as a lone vendor, it has to be open for anybody to be able to go.
Absolutely.
Or
Multiple
we set a
vendors.
fee, or we just set a fee, right?
Right, so multiple vendors can pay that fee to be there.
But I still put a limit how many members you want to have out there.
Right, well, just by having the city of Mitchell employees approve who's going out there, you automatically set a limit, right? I mean, we just guide that limit, right? Because for some events, it might be one, but other events, you could have, there's 5 people that want to set up around the lake on a Saturday afternoon, but.
Somebody might keep riding to see what's on the other side.
Right, yeah.
Well, then you get like, I'm just thinking about if there's a Lorraine softball tournament, is the city, I mean, I don't know how much money the city makes on that weekend at those concessions, but are they okay with, and maybe there's not a restaurant, but maybe a restaurant would want to set up something in the parking lot that would be, in that realm of things too.
And I
So
don't know food laws well enough to know if a restaurant can take it off site and go serve something.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it might open up more opportunities for.
Right. In my mind, I'm thinking of several places along the lake. One, again, at the jetty, one right near the campground, that gravel lot that's outside it, that's right at the edge of the levee. There's multiple places that are high exposure where people might want to try something like that.
Around the corner
Is there
of North
gonna be-
Harmon, that park that's right on the corner of North Harmon,
Yep.
Highway 37,
Could
there's
be.
lots of people that use that, yeah.
Are they going to do anything with that parking lot right to the south of, on the east side of the lake? Are they going to pave that parking lot or anything where that path is going? Right south of the spillway, where that kind of pull-in parking lot is?
And that's the one I was making mention of. Right now, it's not planned to be paved.
Okay.
That would be an ideal place, provided it's not too dusty.
Yeah.
But over there at what's now known as John and Linda McLeod Park, that's being paved either later this week or next week. And it doesn't have the exposure of the Highway 37 traffic, but it's got the boat landing, and it might be an attractive place for somebody to be as well. So I think those are all things we need to keep in mind as we look at these. Obviously, it's not going to be decided tonight. We can banter this, but it needs to be in preparation for something to be offered next spring, should we decide to do this.
Well, and I look at the gross profit thing, and I think for simplicity reasons, I don't think I think you go with a fee we think that this is a thing that we're not trying to make money on, but a service to provide the city, we make it cheap enough that the entry point is pretty easy versus like $100. It's $10 or something, because what we don't want to do is, in my opinion, is have people turned away because they can't. They want to take a shot at trying it, but they can't because they're afraid they're going to lose money on it.
Right, and if we've got a vendor that says their profit margin is at 10%, that'll take them a while to make up for a $30
Yeah.
or $50 permit for
Right,
one night.
Absolutely. So to me, the permit fee, I think, is more just about them being serious and they're actually going to do it than it is about making any money on it, really.
Yeah, I think it's the providing the service to the community at somebody else's gamble and willingness to do that. I think, yeah.
Hot dogs are generally safe. It's not like you have to cook up a bunch of chicken or turkey in advance, but you can have them frozen, I assume, and then kind of work with what your crowd is, cook up on the spot.
And I'm sure whatever we come up with being the first round of this, we'll run into something a year from now that we'll be rediscussing on, because someone figured out something that we have to make another rule on, I'm sure.
Right, so we'll try to think of not necessarily the what-ifs along the way, but we certainly need to consider those things. So I will glean some more. I'll look at Rapid City as well, even though it's a larger, I mean, I've got it here from Sioux Falls, so why not glean from Rapid City as well? We're not trying to be big city, but just looking for things they may have seen as a part of the process that they do.
I'm assuming they have a seasonal pass, or it's just, yeah, because they're, I mean,
Yeah, they're there all the time.
they're there every,
All the time, all
yeah.
weekend.
It might be good for you to reach out to Luke in Yankton. He runs the city park system down there. Similar size.
Any further thoughts on this tonight? I hear leaning away from gross profit, perhaps leaning toward some full season opportunities, and perhaps location specific as we're talking about this. And I'm sure glad you're writing the minutes one last time. We've discussed some points tonight. I'll bring some more forth again next month, unless you want us to have something ready to present and adopt next month, and I can strive toward that as well. But I think if I dig for more ideas and see what people are comfortable with, we'll just continue to banter at this here for a couple of meetings and see where we get, if that's okay with you, right?
I would maybe too, and maybe he would like to see like a list of possible locations that are off limits and a list of locations that would be.
So would that be something like we adopt a policy as the board and then also as the board, we say, like, it's not necessarily in the contract, it's just these are the ones that are off limit, and we direct the employees of the city to say, these are the ones that are off limits. And, you know, rather than like have it in an official document, it's just, these are the ones that are off limits, because it could change. I mean, a year from now, who knows, it could change, and then you have to go back and rewrite everything and all that, or we just say, hey, city employees, these are the ones that, is that the way to do that? Versus an actual policy as to which ones are off limits? No? Yeah.
To be looked at.
Yeah.
And as I think more about that Hitchcock Park and the special event, because it was a special event and not somebody that was leased to, that may be an exception, but
Right.
we'll need to dig into that one further too. That's all I have on that for tonight.
And that's it, next meeting date, right?
November 14th.
November 14th. We'll all be very sad, we'll be here and we'll flounder.
You gonna give her a hug? Give it tonight.
You can just come visit, it's okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? See you next month.